Hello folks, and a very warm welcome to another video. We're here in the Microsoft Sim, and boy have I had some adventures in this simulator in recent times, and not particularly positive ones. It's been a while, well, a few days at least since I've made a video. Not for lack of trying, folks. The simulator has been quite temperamental on my rig of late, and it's made it quite difficult to complete a flight, let alone complete a video. But folks, today is a new day, and I've got my fingers crossed. I've got every bloody appendage crossed, folks, that I'll be able to complete this flight, because it's going to be kind of important. The aircraft on your screen, folks, is the TBM 930 with improvement mod. The improvement mod was updated not that long ago, and thanks again to the developer of same mod for continuing to keep the aircraft up to date in line with all of the updates in the sim. Let me jump inside for a second. Most important button to press is Jude's button, isn't it, Jude? That's what you're always telling me. Me first, daylight second. That's what she says. I'm going to get the door closed as well, folks. Okay, beautiful little animation here in the TBM. It's a fantastic aeroplane, made much better with the mod, and I've spent a bit of time in this aircraft lately, and I should probably explain why you're now seeing this video. So let me swap over to the browser, and I'll take you through it. Right, so here is said browser, folks. What you're looking at is the My Maps thing, the Google My Maps thing, and what you're looking at is an itinerary, or a routing. Which one's correct? I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. You're looking at lines and markers on a map, folks, and that's where I've been in this aircraft. This has been an FS economy ferry from the north of India, way up here. A couple of weeks ago, I purchased this aircraft in a place called, how do you pronounce that? Ludania? Am I in the ballpark? Something like that. So I picked it up in FS economy for however many hundreds of thousands of virtual dollars, with a purpose, and the purpose was to fly it down to Australia, and that's where we're going to end up today, folks. This is our final leg number 16. It is this yellow one here from East Timor down to Darwin, our northernmost capital here in Australia. And the purpose of flying it all the way from northern India down to Australia is to prepare for the release of the next world update in the Microsoft Sim, which will focus on Australia. So I'm going to do a bit of a tour of Australia after the world update comes through, and I think that's late Jan, early Feb, I think. So I'm a little ahead of schedule, but I'll park this aircraft in Darwin for a bit, wait for the sim update, and then I'll do some touring around Australia. And I'm hoping to sort of showcase Australia, the simulated Australia anyway, to the YouTube community. It is a place that I know well. Based on my accent, you probably guessed that I was born in that country, and if you guessed that, congratulations, go to the top of the class. And I hope to share some of my experience of this fine nation with you in this aircraft. I wanted to find an aircraft that sort of would suit what I wanted to do, an aircraft that would allow me to sort of go down low. I was going to say low and slow, but there's nothing slow about the TBM, but to go down low when I wanted to, but also to cruise high. Because Australia's a bloody big place, folks. You know, you can see it compared to a lot of the other countries in the vicinity. It's bloody massive, and it takes a while to get around, even in a fast aeroplane like the TBM 930. So that series of sorts, I'll call it a series. I don't know what it'll be called, but Jude and I are gonna travel around Oz and film some of that while we do it. So the journey to date in this aircraft, as I said, northern India, and then we sort of flew down to New Delhi and then across to Bangladesh, Thailand, a couple of stops there, down into Malaysia, KL, Singapore. That was interesting in the sim, trying to complete a flight, that little short one from KL to Singapore. Yeah, that was a challenge. And then down through Indo, down here, a number of stops in Indonesia, and then across the Timor Sea to Darwin this morning. That's the plan. some of the most enjoyable flying, all the issues aside, and I've had serious issues actually in the sim being able to complete flights, and the weather's balked at various points and stuff's gone wrong. But some of the flying that I've done on this journey, particularly down here in Indo, has been some of the most enjoyable of my recent simming career. Really, really enjoyable flying. I don't spend a lot of time in this part of the virtual world, so, and I haven't been to Indo in real life, so for me it was a bit of an eye opener. The diversity of the scenery and some of the challenges and the weather down this part of the world, and yeah, just really enjoyable flying. And the TBM has behaved itself really well. The simulator, on the other hand, the broader simulator, not so much. But yeah, so this has been an FS economy journey. We've picked up, 16 legs today. By the completion of this journey, we've probably made about 75,000 virtual dollars. It's not too bad. FS economy. That's handy. I mean, it's not worth anything in real life. That'd be nice, but it's not. But yeah, that's what FS economy has brought me over the years. Sort of these journeys that I wouldn't otherwise take. And it kind of, yeah, it gives some purpose, and it literally gives me the itinerary. I'm just picking assignments that sort of go in the rough direction that I want to go. Northern India, I want to head down to Northern Australia. That's kind of in this direction, southeasterly, and we'll pick up some assignments along the way. Some assignments have paid really well. Other assignments, not so well, but that's just the nature of the beast. Anyway, folks, that's quite a long introduction. I've tried to film a couple of those legs, and unfortunately it was on the days that the sim gave me the old CTD, so I haven't published those videos. They're long gone. If you're watching this, you're listening to this voice at the moment, it means that this flight at least was completed successfully. So, lots of background, lots of talking. It's time to go flying. Alright, so engine start's been achieved. Local Barrows 2985. We've got a flight plan in. That's what she looks like. So a bunch of waypoints heading down towards Darwin. Total journey of 538 nautical miles. That seems a little high. 538 nautical miles? I thought it was more like 300 and something nautical miles. Distance to go 538. I don't think so. Pretty sure it was 300. Why is it saying 530? Has it got some waypoints in there that we don't need? So this flight plan came out of SimBrief. Add up all those numbers. 276, 30, 17. That doesn't equal anywhere near 538. Interesting. Our actually, I don't need to do that. Go back for a bit. Flight plan Kakung, waypoint info. What's our runway here in Kakung? 1432, nice and long. We might take off runway 32. I think the wind is favouring that. That's fine. Get our navcom set up. All the sixes on the transponder. Come back to that in a minute, and we'll go altitude. Yeah, not sure what this distance to go. Why it's reporting 538. I would like to know though. That bugs me. We'll zoom out on the map view. How far can we go? There's nothing weird. It's not like we've sort of got any backtracks or doubling ups or anything. Not by the looks of it anyway. Carrying enough fuel, according to the TBM at the moment, for 3 hours worth of flying. We're definitely not going to need all of that. We're about sort of halfway, half full tanks. Everything's in the green that needs to be in the green. We've got no warnings enunciating, which is good. We'll sort of go down, I think, nice and high here. And we'll just dial that into the altitude selector. We'll go down at 29, I think. Ceiling's 31 in the TBM. The 29's close enough for my liking. And we'll just take a little while here on the old... I'm going to get some RSI in my scrolling finger. Is there a quicker way of dialing in the altitude? If there is, can someone let me know? Other than just a simple scroll. What happens if I sort of move up? No, it doesn't work. Alright. I was trying an X-plane trick there. Different sim. Lots happening over in the X-Plane world though. Lots happening in the world of simulation, but big release in recent days over in the X-Plane world. I might talk about that in a different video, an X-Plane video even. 29,000. There we go. We might hit old mate here. We'll hang a lefty, head straight out to the runway. Yeah. So nav lights on, taxi lights on, everything else is pretty good. Parking brake can come off. Give it a little bit of juice, Jude. What do you reckon? Into taxi mode down here on the throttle. You good? It's been an interesting journey, Jude. We've spent some time together lately, eh? An absolute pleasure, I must say, as well. And we probably have some issues with our rudder pedals. We seem to have some issues turning left. Just for something different in this simulator. Doesn't want to turn left. Okay, let me try that again. Will it turn left? There we go. I don't really want to go flying if the left rudder doesn't work. We'll avoid old mate here. Sorry champ. There's some fuel over there. We're loaded up. We've got the FS economy client started. Everything's good. Head out onto the runway here. Need some flap. Go landing light as well. Strobies can come on once we're sort of entering the runway, which is close enough now. Runway 32. So we'll backtrack a little bit down here to the left. Try and slow us down a tad, mate. Here we go. Runway 32 Kakung. This will sort of end the Asian portion of this ferry. As I was saying earlier, very, very enjoyable little trip. It was the closest aircraft I could find to purchase near Australia to do what I want to do once the world update comes through. So sort of had no choice. Well, I could have paid someone virtual dollars to ferry this aircraft to Australia, but I found over the years that some of the little ferry adventures that I've undertaken myself, moving aircraft to different parts of the world, it's been some of the more enjoyable flying, and this journey has proven that yet again. So FS economy comes through once again. Fair bit of criticism around FS economy of late. Perhaps justified. Might talk a little bit about that in the cruise portion. We do have a little bit of a cruise today, a little bit of en route, so we might take some opportunity once we're in the cruise to do that. No traffic around that I can see. Haven't seen a lot of live traffic on this journey. There was a little bit in India around New Delhi, and there was a lot in Singapore. But apart from that, the skies have been sparsely populated. It's been a little bit lonely, but that's okay. Kind of one of the reasons that I make videos is to make the experience for me feel a little bit less lonely sometimes. Not that I ever really get lonely, but I don't know. That's one of the benefits of bringing Jude on board as well. Gives me a little bit of virtual company. And we'll just line ourselves up here, runway 32. What was I saying? The wind was favouring 32? No, it wasn't. It was favouring 14. We had a very long taxi. I didn't expect to be backtracking so far. It's been a little while since I landed here, so I don't really remember where the ramp was. So heading bug aligned. I think we're pretty much good to go, right? Flight plan's in. We've got an altitude dialed in. We've got local baro set. We've got our V speeds. We're looking for about 85 on the rotate. So we're going to take off towards the northwest, and then we'll sort of make a right turn after departure, and then take up our track down to our waypoint, first waypoint, which is Donya, out there in the Timor Sea. Jude, you happy? Always happy. Hey, you're just very good at hiding it. Let's go, folks. Full juice. Well, half juice. And then we'll go full, or close enough to full juice. There we go. Beautiful sounds, beautiful aeroplane. And power set. About 95 on the torque. It's good, accelerating nicely. Light breeze. Like tailwind by the looks of it. Up through 60. $75, looking for 85 on the rotate, which is about there. We can lift off. Let's go. Positive rate, gear can come up. climb out of here on runway heading or thereabouts up to about 500 AGL, then we'll begin our right hand turn. Just a beautiful aeroplane. And in terms of weather, when the sim weather, we'll go flaps up here. When the sim's weather, live weather has actually worked, and there was a few days there where it seemed to be less than optimal. But when it has worked, it's been beautiful. In terms of, you know, not too nothing too dodgy. I haven't had to dodge too many storms. There's been a few. There's been plenty of cloud, and there's been a bit of rain around, but the storms have sort of been well off the tracks that I've flown, so that's pretty handy. Haven't had to worry about that. Meant to make the turn at 500, got busy talking, so I made the turn at 1500 instead. 2022, folks, on this channel, nothing's changed. All the best laid plans. I distract myself, let alone all the other factors that come into the mix. So 350 knots, we're climbing just over 1,000 feet a minute. We can absolutely climb better than that. Best rate is way back in about 120 or something like that, isn't it? But that's okay. I like a nice leisurely and fairly fast climb. We'll take our time to get to 29,000. I'm not in a rush. Jude's not in a rush. We're all good. 160 knots. We'll take up a track of probably about what we might do is about 130. Then we continue our right hand turn. We do have a large hill sort of on track, which is sort of coming into a 12 o'clock view now. A little flash of some sort there. I don't know whether that came through on the video. That was a bit weird. I hope that's not a sign of impending CTD. Flash on the monitor. I've seen a lot of stuff in this simulator lately. I haven't seen the monitor flash like that. Right, so what we'll do is we'll go yaw damper on flight director autopilot. Heading hold. We'll go heading mode. And we'll go flight level change at about 160, just to give us a little bit more space over this hill in front of us. The flight director will just chase that speed for the moment. And what we might do is come downstairs and go. We should have turned our altitude on. Thanks for reminding me, Jude. Bloody hell. Can't trust anyone these days. We might go Donya direct and go nav, which is up here. Oh, not that bloody... I don't want the bloody toolbar. Go nav, direct Donya. Here we go. We're making the turn, Georgie. Excellent. Alright, we're going to get over that hill. Bloody hope so. All that build up to this last flight, and I planted in the middle of a hill. It'll be slightly disappointing. And there we go, folks. We say farewell to Timor-Leste and begin our journey down to the land of Oz. Folks, I'll rejoin you sometime in the cruise. We might talk a little bit about FS economy once we're up there. It won't be a long video, I don't think, but appreciate your company as always, and yeah, we'll catch you in the cruise. Alright folks, so we're just settling into the cruise here at flight level 290. We are going to battle an easterly breeze, pretty light though, 10, 11, 12 sort of knots. We'll continue to slowly accelerate. We'll probably build our TAS probably up to around about 315 by the time we burn off a bit of fuel and whatever. But we're still TASing at a 309 already. That's very handy, and with that headwind, giving us a ground speed of just under 300 knots, which is pretty bloody impressive for a single-engine turboprop. One of the reasons I love this aeroplane. So, you may recall, because I do, at the start of the flight, I noticed that the distance to go was estimating something quite a bit higher than what I expected, and I sort of did a very brief investigation trying to understand why that is the case. Without actually resolving the issue. And this is just, look, I could have fixed this and just not said anything, but I think it's another good example to myself, if nothing else, or to no one else, of when something feels off, there's a reason. And what it was, and I was having a look here at the flight plan, and there was nothing obvious visually, but how I scrolled down to the active flight band down here, and I continued to click the down button. That's as far as I got in my investigation, right? I thought, yeah, that's okay, it looks alright. What I didn't realise is that, you see where that the sort of scroll bar is. It's sort of mid-range. What that indicates is that there's more underneath that I'm not looking at. So I need to keep clicking the down button. And what you're going to find is that because this was exported out of SimBrief, I think, and then combined here in the Microsoft Sim Flight Planner thing, what it's done is it's kind of duplicated everything. It's added an arrival function to, like, it's duplicated all of that en route stuff and then added it as a sort of a separate entity, which is the arrival entity, which has really added a significant amount of nautical miles to the distance to go, right? And yeah, so it's sort of created this additional bit of flying that we don't need to do. I actually don't want an arrival. So how do I get rid of it? I guess what I could do, so let me tackle this another way. I don't know how to delete an arrival. There's nothing obvious there that says remove. Well, it says remove destination airport. Okay, so let me try something. Let me try something else. So let me go, before I do this, let me do something else. Let's put us into heading mode so that it doesn't get too funky here. Alright, so I'm going to come down here. So instead of, I'll get rid of SUDAG, remove waypoint, yeah. I'll get rid of NBAB, remove waypoint, which is this one. SADAR, remove waypoint, that one. Whatever that is, remove waypoint. Riveting video, folks, isn't it? This is troubleshooting on the fly, folks. In the fly, even. It's a nice bit of pun work. So Donya. If I get rid of Donya, active flight plan is desynchronized. Please delete the active plan to resolve. Well, I'm not going to delete a plan. Okay. That didn't quite work. Okay. So can I go, if I go direct Donya, like that, activate direct Donya, which is kind of where I was going anyway, my distance to go has come down considerably, as has my en route forecast, to be less than an hour. So we've gone from whatever it was down to 291. Add in the time that we've taken to get to this point, and we're on that 300 and something nautical miles, which is what I was forecast. Now, the thing is, a little bit difficult here trying to... I don't want to do any... What's it saying about that synchronization thing? So direct Donya, and then we're going from... I actually want to go to that Donya. But it won't... Will it not do that? Can I not do what I want it to do? Is that better? So we got rid of Donya. Now going direct. Now what's it doing? It's not flying. It's lost its connection with the flight plan, hasn't it? Okay, so now I have to go direct SUDAG. There may have been another way to do this, folks. I'm going to go back to a nav mode on the autopilot. So now I'm going direct SUDAG. We're still okay. That's looking much better in terms of the distance and the en route time. Direct SUDAG. So we'll fly. We're now going to fly that arrival. Oh, go away. We're now going to fly that arrival, which will take us and have us ending up down at Darwin. I don't know if that was the most... I'm going to get this warning all the time. I don't know if that was the most efficient or appropriate way to address the issue. But, look, the end result is kind of the most important thing for me right at the moment. So we're in the cruise, folks. That out of the way. That, like I said when I introduced this particular segment of the video, essentially it was a lesson in, hey, if something seems wrong, it means that there's something awry. Investigate, work it out, don't just ignore it. This is flight simulation, and look, my approach to flight simulation is not for the purists. I don't ever claim to be following the appropriate procedures in anything here. What you're seeing is me sort of back of the envelope, top of mind, all those other analogies that I'm trying to think of and can't. Just raw, folks. That's what it is. Anyway, cruise flight level 290. We're TASing now 316 knots, 305 over the ground. So FS Economy. This has been an FS Economy ferry. Let me take you outside and give those of you that like an external view something to look at. Here over the Timor Sea. Beautiful day in this part of the world. En route Darwin. So yeah, FS Economy. So it has a number of sort of competitors. We're now in 2022. There's a number of platforms, apps, ecosystems, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what the right term is. Neofly is one, On Air, Air Hauler. Just off the top of my head, I think there are a few others, and there's been some discussion around alternatives to FS Economy, and there's been some discussions within the FS Economy community around what's happening with it. So FS Economy's been around for a long time. I want to say 15 years or perhaps more. Really long time. At one point they claimed to sort of have 10,000 or something active pilots. I'd be surprised if that number is true in 2022, particularly considering that they haven't been able to accept any new members for a while. And I don't know precisely the reason why, because I'm not active in the community anymore. I fly FS Economy pretty much every day. I would say 90% of my flying is done with FS Economy running. It gives me a lot of purpose and sort of meaning to my simming, and I have built up a little, I don't know, what would you call it? A business? I don't know. I've got aeroplanes. I own aeroplanes. This one being one. I own FBOs in FS Economy. I've been part of groups. I've got a bit of cash in my virtual bank account. I've been around the world. I've been around the FS Economy space for a while. And I've enjoyed it, and I've adapted to all of the changes that have been made over the years. It is a free platform, but it's undergone a number of changes over the time that I've been involved in it. Some of them have been more popular than others. I won't debate the merits of them. I simply adapted to them, and the changes that don't work for me I kind of don't give too much attention to. Where there are other changes that have been in my favour just because of the way I like to sim and the way I like to use FS Economy. So, I've just taken it on board and got on with the job. But there are definitely some murmurings there that FS Economy may be sort of, its best days might be behind it. And when you've got a platform that can't accept new members, and think about all of the new simmers that have entered the world, alongside the release of the Microsoft Sim, huge numbers of new people into the hobby, into the genre, and those of them that want to get into FS Economy can't. They're being stopped for reasons. I believe it's technical, but I find that a bit difficult to understand. I just don't understand how a technical issue can block the admission of new members for an extended period of time, and there seems to be no resolution in sight. So I think some people have taken that to say, well, that's probably a sign that the platform's dying, right? Can't accept new members. What I'm seeing in the FS Economy world is that if you're already a member, and to use it at this point you have to be an existing member. I'm not talking to people who are prospective members anymore. It is presenting opportunities for people in terms of buying FBOs as my little dog decides that she needs to get in on the FS Economy discussion. She's not a fan, I take it. Plenty to say on the subject. Yes, 2022, folks. This is still a dog-friendly channel. But yeah, there are opportunities. I mean, people are selling stuff. People are getting out of FS economy or downsizing or liquidating or whatever you want to call it. And that provides opportunities for others to pick up aeroplanes, perhaps at a better virtual price than they would have been otherwise. There's plenty of FBOs on the market all around the world. I don't think I've ever seen so many FBOs for sale. But you have to be an existing member to take advantage of that. I don't want this to be a criticism of FS economy, and neither does Jude. She's remaining pretty tight-lipped, but that's her MO. It's not I actually enjoy the platform. It's added a lot to my simming, and I still enjoy it. As I said, probably 95% of my flying. So, and it's given this flight right now would not be happening without sort of the inspiration, if you like, provided by FS economy. So I'm grateful to be a part of that world. But there are alternatives, and yeah, as I said, a platform is in trouble when it can't accept new members. I don't know where you go to. You can't grow. And I think it's a real shame because there's a whole lot of new people that have been introduced to this wonderful hobby that we call simming that can't get in on the action. But look, if you're watching this video and you're an FS economy user or player or simmer, and you want to contribute something in the comments, feel free to do so. But yeah, those are just my 2.5 cents for what it's worth. As we're in the cruise here, flight level 290. We're about 50 minutes from touchdown in Darwin. If the weather doesn't change significantly, we've got plenty of fuel. Looks like we're carrying about an hour in reserve. I'll see you for the approach into Darwin, folks. Alright folks, we're about 94 nautical miles. According to the G3000, if we fly every leg of the approach of the arrival, we're currently sort of just crossing the western tip of the Tiwi Islands. This island here will be Bathurst Island, and then the other one, the bigger one, is Melville Island. So it might be time to think about a descent. We're at 29,000. Yeah, it might be time. So what we're going to do is we're going to dial in a lower altitude. We're going to start a gentle 1,000 foot per minute initially, just to get us on the way down. Come back on the torque a little bit, down to probably about 75-ish, 70-ish on the torque, which is about there. Good enough, close enough. A nice, fairly high-speed descent. I do like being able to descend at a fairly rapid rate of knots in this aircraft. Does get along. Fantastic aeroplane. Is it the world's fastest single-engine turboprop? Have I got that right? I think I heard that at some point. This is the 930. I think there's like a 940 now. Maybe that's the fastest. I don't know. So we'll just continue. We're doing a ground speed of about 300 knots. Yeah, 1,500 feet per minute. That'll sort of put us on profile, we would expect. Yeah, so it looks like we're heading sort of out towards the east of the field and then sort of flying an approach towards the west. Whether that will actually happen is another story, folks. But it's been a pretty enjoyable flight so far. Once I worked out the flight plan issue. It's been a smooth flight. Conditions have been fantastic en route, and I don't see anything in front of me that would suggest that that's going to change. As we look down on the Tiwi Islands, don't spend a lot of time up in this part of the country, and one of the reasons for sort of, as I said at the start of the video, for getting this aircraft was to bring it down to Australia, and in preparation for World Update 28 or whatever it is. It's going to focus on Australia and then spend some time travelling around this fine country via air, and we'll probably do that in FS economy, which will give us some structure, I suppose, a little bit of purpose, and give us an opportunity to make plenty of virtual coin to be made in Australia. I've made the majority of my MSFS economy fortune, but it's hardly a fortune. I made a lot of virtual dollars in Australia and New Zealand over the years, and it will be lovely, Jude. This is probably the absolute highlight of the trip, even in advance. You know, weeks out from when we begin our journey, Jude, I can say for sure right now that the highlight will be spending time with you. Jude, did you hear what I said? That's a pretty big call. I'm basically, you know, it's the L word in disguise, Jude. This is all for you, Jude. Nothing. Nothing at all, folks. What am I left to do? Other than continue our descent. See, I got distracted by Jude's freckles, and I forgot to dial in a lower altitude. So now I'm going to be high on profile. This is what happens, and this is what she does to me. You know, her cold-hearted ways just captivate me. It's witchcraft. That's what it is. Bloody witchcraft. Folks, we'll see you for the approach into Darwin. Righto, folks. So the approach continueth. That is Darwin International Airport down there. We're basically becoming a beam with the aircraft, with the airport, I should say. This will be an aircraft in front of us. Airport, mate. Get it right. That's as great a city of Darwin. We're sort of tracking way out here to sort of turn around, do a U-ey and land back towards the west. Whether the actual conditions at Darwin Airport would support such an arrival is another question. That's just what SimBrief has told us to do, and for the purposes of today, I'm not feeling the best, so I'm just going to go with it. I'm not going to argue too much. Yeah, that's Darwin from the air, folks, and I hope to bring you a lot more of those sort of shots over the coming months on the channel as we fly around Australia after our friends at Asobo and Microsoft do their thing with the World Update, and share with you my experience of this country and some of its diversity in terms of landscape. It offers some fantastic flying, and yeah, looking forward to that. As is Jude, even though she's keeping the excitement on the inside. But no one does that better than Jude. Let me just move across to her lap. G'day, lovely. Jude, come on, give the camera. Look at the camera for the folks, Jude. Come on, they really appreciate it. There we go. Hello, lovely. How are you? Thanks, Jude. That's all I needed, love. Going to continue the approach down through 10,000, folks. How are we going? Are we on profile? Pretty much. Sort of got 27 miles to run. Bloody hell, this is a long approach. I'm gonna cut it short, just because I bloody well can. We're coming down through transitions. We'll go local Barrow, which is 2980 apparently. Love hitting that B button. The push to get standard Barrow in this aircraft, I'm pushing it, doesn't actually work anymore. Did it ever work? I'm not sure. I can't quite remember. Sorry, Jude. You're just looking for a bit of space as we make the approach. I'll jump back in your lap. Funny how that works, eh? I didn't know I had a shortcut to your lap. Right on cue. Oh, folks, I entertain myself, if nobody else. Now let's get a little bit creative here. Let's just get that zoom happening. What happens if I go direct Darwin? All right, so I'm going to go heading sync, heading hold just for the moment. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go direct Darwin because I can. What's that give me? 10 miles and we're at 8,000 feet. Yeah, a little high on profile. Sorry, Jude. I just can't help myself. Now that I know I've got a shortcut to your lap. Let's be bold. Here we go. Autopilot off. Let's get it down. Georgie, you've done admirably, mate, but it's time for me to strut me stuff here into Darwin. Bit bittersweet when you do these tours and they sort of come to the end of it. You kind of start these things and you think, bloody hell, it's going to take me weeks to get to the end, and it does, and you go through all those dramas with the simulator and whatever, And then you get to this point and you think, well, I actually almost don't want this to end. Anyway, all journeys must come to an end. All good things must come to an end. So we'll sort of just head back and land towards the westerly orientated runway, whatever that happens to be. Been a little while since I've been to Darwin, and I think the last time would have been in X-Plane, and that would have been a while ago. But we'll kind of point our nose towards Darwin, 12 o'clock position. We're descending at 2,000 feet a minute, which we kind of need to at the moment, as we come through the layer of what looks like a little bit of strato Q in terms of the cloud type, is it? I don't know. Can't remember. I used to know all those bloody things. I used to be able to, you know, look up at the sky and entertain people with... I entertain myself anyway, pointing out different cloud types. There wasn't too many people in my life, never has been, that have really appreciated my meteorological knowledge. And that's a very big word before I have my 5th coffee for the day. There's a runway in front of us, folks. What looks to be a runway poking through there, yeah. I'm going to fly through this little hole down here. We'll continue at sort of rate of descent for now. We're 8 miles away from touchdown, 4,000 feet. That's high on profile. But we're going alright. We're down under sort of... We can get some flap out if we need to, although it's a bit early. And we can throw the gear out as well. I think we'll be alright here. Just check local barrow again. Yeah, it's 2980. That's alright. There was a hole there before. Now we're going to go... Oh yeah, we're going to remain visual with the field. We're calling that visual? Yeah, I can kind of see the ground. That's good enough. Straight towards the runway. Praise the simming gods for the G3000 and the synthetic terrain. This is a great bit of kit, hey, the G3000. As we had 3000 sort of dialed into the altitude selector. We're going to continue at 6 miles. Wind. The wind is suggesting that we've the SimBrief has picked the right runway for us. What we might do at still 5 miles. We'll try to set ourselves up for about a 3-mile final. Give ourselves an opportunity to make a reasonable fist of this approach. So I might take this opportunity, folks, just to, again, thanks everyone for your company on another video, and thanks to all recent subscribers and to all subscribers to the channel. I do appreciate the support, and hopefully the sim behaves itself and I'm able to make a few more videos. There's some X-Plane stuff that I want to do as well. I hope. But best laid plans and all that sort of stuff. We're going to take flap, we're going to take gear. We're going to be about a 3-mile final. So that's worked out. That's pretty good. It's just a stock airport here for Darwin. I don't know if there's a custom freeware or a payware rendition. I don't know. Runway 2... What are we? 29, I'm going to guess at this point. Through 140 knots. We'll be able to get full flap out. There we go. 3-mile final, almost perfect, folks. Runway 29 Darwin. We've got a nice little headwind. Let's see if we can get off at the first taxiway to the left. That's the plan anyway. Continuing to slow, we're right back on the torque. We'll get into the wide arc momentarily. Slow ourselves down, retrim. We'll get into the wide arc about now. We'll take full flap. Final check, everything is good. How to run a checklist without running the checklist, folks. Gears down, flaps down. We're retrimming. We're looking for about 85. 85 to 90 knots on is our approach. Coming a little bit hot at the moment. I find anything more than about 85 and she floats. So I want to get off with that first taxiway. It should be fine. Down through 95. By the time we get to the threshold, we'll be about 85 is my guess. Retrimming. Might need a little bit of juice to get us there. There we go. There's 85. That's bloody perfect. That's a nice wide strip, isn't it? Runway 29 Darwin, folks. We'll go to idle. Nice little flare there. Don't float it. There we go. Try and keep it on. Go into a little bit of beta. Thanks to our friend the F2 key. No braking. We'll save the brakes. Come out of beta. Get our flaps coming up. A little bit stuttery here. Oh, we made the first taxiway without any dramas at all. Folks, I won't bore you with the taxi into the terminal. Do appreciate your company in another video, and folks, we'll see you next time.